Hello and welcome to this short presentation on how we were able to successfully bypass Cisco DUO multi-factor authentication using the failover method. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate the importance of understanding how each of the technologies within your environment work so that they can be deployed appropriately. So in our example, we have a client in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. This client is going to initiate an RDP connection to the RDP server just above it. The RDP server is secured both with Active Directory credentials and the Cisco DUO multi-factor authentication app. Once the server receives the RDP request, and assuming that the Active Directory credentials entered are correct, it will initiate a connection with the DUO cloud, which will in turn verify that the user is enrolled for multi-factor authentication. If the user is found, a push notification will be sent to the cell phone. Once accepted, the DUO cloud will notify the server that the user has accepted the request and the RDP connection will be established. Okay, so in order for the default DUO installation to function, it must have access to the DUO cloud. DUO applications use an API hostname that is specified at installation, and it is this hostname that allows the application to look up and access the DUO cloud service. Now, if this service is unavailable for any reason, the DUO application has a couple of different options. Firstly, it could choose to fail open, which means that the primary authentication method, in this case our Active Directory credentials, are enough, with secondary authentication, i.e. DUO, not being required. Fail closed, on the other hand, means if the DUO cloud service is unavailable for any reason, all RDP connections to that server should be denied. With default DUO installations, the default is to fail open. With this in mind, the key to bypassing default DUO installations is to interrupt the communication between the DUO application proxy installed on the server and the DUO cloud. This can be done a number of different ways, such as performing DNS spoofing or simply denying the traffic between the application and the cloud service. But before we go any further, let's take a quick look at how DUO should function. In this example, I'm going to initiate a connection to our RDP server and authenticate with my Active Directory credentials. We will then be taken to the DUO screen, whereby a push notification will be sent to my cell phone. Once accepted, my RDP session is granted access to the server. In order to control the flow of traffic between the DUO application installed on the server and the DUO cloud, we're going to inject ourselves into the traffic path using a man-in-the-middle technique known as ARP spoofing, which will take us from this to this. Now on to the attack. The first thing we're going to do is make sure that we do not interrupt connectivity once we inject ourselves into the traffic path. Now that we have done this, we're going to use ARP spoofing to inject ourselves between the server and the internet. ARP spoofing allows us to trick the server into thinking we are its default gateway device and the real default gateway device into thinking we are the server. Next, we're going to work out which API hostname the server is configured with in order to contact the DUO cloud. To do this, we're going to examine DNS requests sent by the server. As we can see, a server made a DNS request for its API hostname. Now that we know the host the server is communicating with, we can modify the IP tables to drop traffic to this host. By dropping traffic between the server and the DUO cloud, we should now be able to initiate an RDP connection to our server and authenticate simply by using our Active Directory credentials, effectively bypassing DUO. So let's give it a go. And that's it. We've successfully bypassed Duo using the fail open method.